I will be putting my mask. You all can or don't have to if you're not comfortable. That's why I'm away from it. I will not be wearing, but you can or cannot. You can if you want to. I choose not to. Yelah, susah orang nak dengar.
Can I choose that you wear a mask?
Participants, can you sit in front, fill up the space over here, don't be afraid. We are quite far away, although I'm not wearing mask right now. I'm very sure,
Your choice.
I'm
I just
quite
can't be
clean.
bothered to
We are already live on YouTube, yeah, before we start.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we don't bite and we feel lonely up here. So please fill up the seats. Those in the back of the hall looking in, please fill up. Those who are here, if you're from the IEM, give us some love. No love. Oh, well. We're starting off on a bad foot here. Okay.
I guess we can start. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. How are you guys doing? Very good. Thank you very much for coming in physically at the KL Convention Center. This is the first time the Sembang Chillex with IEM that we do physically. Before this, we have done it on the virtual platform. So right now, what you are seeing is the backdrop of the Sembang Chillex. Okay, let us start. Yeah, we are all on YouTube live right now, and thank you very much for the YouTube watchers as well. You can put in your comments over there as well as your questions, so we can address those. But before we go on, I would like to actually mention that Sembang Chillex Kejuruteraan Bersama IEM is actually an effort by IEM to engage the public, to people to know more about engineering per se. So IEM is not just for the members, but for all of the people in Malaysia. Okay, and also we actually have Board of Engineers Malaysia as our supporters in this event, and also there are two bodies, the NGOs that we are working with as well. Those are the BFF or Brain for Future. Yeah. So Brain for Future is where you students can actually get help with financial or mentoring whatsoever. And also we have another NGO that we are working with as well, which is Closing the Gap Malaysia. Yeah, so Closing the Gap, if you want to know more, you can also search them on the website as well as their Instagram. So Closing the Gap basically help you with with underprivileged students who needs help with their career. So this is not just for engineering, for all of other studies that you do as well. But we are working, IEM is working together with these bodies in order to help our engineering students to get through their studies. Okay, and also what we have today, yeah, we have today a very three people who have made it in their business career in engineering. So if any of you who are taking engineering as part of their discipline, major in university, and you are thinking of opening up your own business in the future, either you want to, be opening up your own firm, or if you want to become a consultant like myself, then this is where you can learn a little bit more. This is probably the first step that you will take to actually get help in terms of what you want to do in the future. Yeah. Okay. My name is Raza, by the way, and I will be one of the moderators. The other moderator that we have is Engineer Wata over there, towards the end. So I will pass it over to him so that he can introduce himself as well as the panelists that we have today. Please proceed, Wata.
Thank you, Engineer Raza. Good morning, KL Convention Center. I am here to sell, no, sorry, that's the wrong script. I think I am here to moderate together with Engineer Raza the talk for today. The talk for today is called Episode 5, Sembang Chillex Engineer Buat Business. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, engineers is actually a pseudonym. We are actually trying to sell cryptocurrency. So our main business, so we have other businesses. But to be serious, we are engineers. There's no point in us giving our services, giving our skills, giving our passion, and not getting paid for it. If you want to do that, there are other avenues for, oh, thank you. You notice that we get our mugs. So, my name is Wata. I'm one of the backroom girls for the IEM. Engineer Raza wanted another moderator, saw me, dragged me out, stuffed the microphone into my hand, and then here I am. But as much as I am a stand-in for today, the three other presenters that we have, our distinguished panelists, they, ladies and gentlemen, are no joke. So first and foremost, in no particular order, other than this is how I wrote it down in my notes. The first speaker I would like to introduce is Engineer Yao Xiaofeng. So if you're with the IEM, you will be familiar with him. He is one of our VPs. But for today's session, he is the owner of Durian Professional Senior Berhad. No, ladies and gentlemen, he is not researching the next D24, which we can sell, but he is actually electrical and consultancy. So again, if you have concerns about whether you would like to go into electrical or associated engineering, please contact Engineer Xiaofeng or have your questions directed to him. This is both for the audience here and for the audience who are on YouTube. Thank you for the audience here in the hall. If this was RTM, I would say there were about 200 people here and all of them listening in. Our second presenter for today is Muhammad Arkam Munaim. So he is the founder and CEO of Megayati Academy. So you can ask him questions related to that. Last but not least, we have Engineer Kevin Shanta. If this was a personal thing, I would just drop the microphone here. But since you do not know him, he is a well-known friend of mine, my dive buddy. So you can ask him about diving. Again, for the session for today, he is actually the owner of Synergy Oil and Gas Engineering, which is in the, obviously, it is in the oil and gas industry. So,
Wata, before we go on and ask them questions, I would like to acknowledge our IEM president, Ong Chin Lun, is over here as well. We have Hon Sek as well. And also the secretary, David Chua, as well as Han over there. And we can start questions right now. Go ahead, Wata. Ask the first question.
Okay, so we will be asking questions as prompters to our guests, the audience. I think you have an avenue for you to ask questions as well. So let the games begin. So first one, I would like to direct this to Engineer Kevin. Again, you are the owner of Synergy Oil and Gas Engineering. We would like to ask, how did you get into business? Was it the starting point, what you did before, did that influence your choices? So over to you, Engineer Kevin.
Okay, thanks Wada for the question. Interesting question. So maybe a little bit about my background. I'm a graduate in chemical engineering. So when I started off, I didn't really want to be an engineer, didn't know what I wanted to do. So I actually started off as a sales engineer. That lasted for about 3 or 4 months. Then I slowly went into the oleochemical business and finally found myself in the oil and gas. So in the oil and gas industry, I actually found where my passion was. So I guess to people, you need to explore to find out your passion. So once I found out where my passion is, I continued to stay as a design engineer. So I worked for several companies, and most of my work was to do with engineering offshore facilities for EPC companies. So along that route of engineering, I discovered also simulation and dynamic simulations, flow assurance, and all the little specialist work that third parties used to do. So that's a bit of my background. So from then on, about a decade ago, looking at the oil and gas industry, I discovered there was actually a small area that there were actually no local engineers that provided third-party or specialist engineering. A lot of the work went out overseas. So with that in mind, I started up a consultancy, just myself and a couple of people, and we grew from there. And now we provide specialist engineering consultancy to our clients in oil and gas. And that's how we started.
I think that is a really a good point that Kevin actually raised. Whenever that you want to create business, yeah, it's always you want to find a gap in the market, meaning that what are the things that is not available in the market, then you go and make yourself available in that particular sector. So I think that is a really good thing that Kevin pointed out just now. Make sure that you find the gap in the market and then sell yourself in that particular gap. If all of you have any questions whatsoever, let's keep it for a while. We will open up the session for questions at the end of the program. And whoever asks the question will get this special mark that you cannot get anywhere else. Okay, thank you so much. So we have the next question that I have is actually for our Chao Fong over here. Yeah. So Chao Fong, tell us a little bit about starting your business, the challenges that you face when you start a business. You know, coming out of business is not easy. It's never easy. However, the payoff is good. Yeah. So as an engineer, we have a lot of this option because we are good technically. Yeah. And we basically just need to, involve ourselves in the business. Okay, let's hear from Jia Chao Fong.
Thank you, Raza, and thank you again for this session. I think it's the first time. Of course, I was here in the episode 1 in virtually, but I'm glad that there are a lot of participants as well, especially students and student sections here on this. And of course, talking about the challenges, and of course, when I started the business, well, maybe just a little bit of background. I'm an electrical engineer, graduated, I think, about 20 years ago, almost 21 years. I'm just like most of you. Upon graduation, I went into a career in manufacturing, working in a factory, and then followed by my second career, which was in consultancy, where I did design of M&E services. So at that moment, when I started and when I just graduated from the university, I do not have this mindset that I want to do business. Maybe I would just like to continue whatever I had, and maybe obtain my professional engineer status, and then only I will think about it. So when, so lucky that after about 6 to 7 years, I managed to get my PE, and I was actually offered, not to say offered by a senior to venture into business. So I was excited, just like young engineers, when you are given an opportunity, let's do business together, let's do a joint venture or so on. So I accepted the offer. I wanted to take up challenges like what Raza has mentioned. I wanted to do business. I was then, I think, 30 plus, 31, I think, 30 years old. So you know how old I am now. So started with that, and then actually from that moment, things get tough because doing business is not like studying or even in the in what I call in layman's term, just get to know what you know as an engineer. So I struggled. As you know, doing business means there are a lot of other factors coming in. Like for example, you need to market yourself. You need to actually obtain certain jobs or even a salary, or actually come up with a lot of ideas to actually pitch the projects and so on. So unfortunately, my first venture failed. Couldn't find job, couldn't survive and all that. So so I have no choice but to actually go back to work with other people. So from then, I was actually offered another opportunity to work into a specialized engineering career, which is actually in data centers. So I'm sure you have heard of data centers, those that you actually install servers and all that to actually supply whatever information to all the your handphones and all that to store the storage of Google storage and so forth. So something new at that time, because I have not many choices, I was thinking, why not? Let's try something new. So I managed to gain experience in this field, in data centers, and of course, learn other skills, like for example, marketing, and of course, dealing with clients, communicating with clients, how to actually do presentations and all that, which I did not really learn when I was in the previous company. And of course, I jump out and then suddenly I felt, oh, how come I'm not too good at that? So that's why that particular 2 to 3 years, I learned a lot. And then I was actually also looking at opportunities where shall I actually try again as a businessman or even into entrepreneurship. So at that time, I consider myself lucky because a few other of my partners then came to me and wanted to actually told me, hey, why not? Are you considering to actually start up another company again? So at that time, I told them I was not ready. But after some thoughts and of course some discussions and chit chats sessions with them, I told myself, why not? Let's come out again. But of course, this time I told myself it has to be something different, something unique, and something that I felt that is actually this is the second chance. So I should not actually do something that I've actually done mistakes that have been made earlier. So I came out and in 2013. So I came out again of a new branding, like what Wata has mentioned, durian, something that is actually not easy to actually start off with because our company is called Durian, but we're not selling durian, but it's something unique. And we wanted something that is actually able to capture people. And of course, what we do is we are doing services, just like M&E services, but we focus on like what Raza has mentioned, identify the gaps between the services in the industry. So we found that why not let's venture into renewable energy. At the time, I think Arkam was also together. So we venture into solar farms design, biogas designs, and of course, going into that, we also went back to my expertise, which is in data centers and so on. So what we did was actually we tried to actually venture into it's the same industry, M&E services, but into new areas like renewable energy, data centers, and in fact now I'm actually looking at semiconductor industries and so on as well. So these are some of the things that we do. So in short, there are always challenges when you want to actually do something, be it whether you are into in a university or even in studying or even you're working and so forth. So the challenges is for you to look at yourself and take up the challenges and move forward and never give up in what you do. There bound to be one day you'll be successful, and of course you can move forward in your career.
Okay. That is why Chow Fong is one of the panelists today, because he has failed and he get up again and then he's successful right now. And this is something that all of you should learn as well. It's not easy out there. Something that you need to work really hard, and I have never seen anyone working much harder than Chow Fong in whatever he does actually. So my respect over to him. To move on, I will pass over to Wata for the next question. Probably you can ask question over to Arkam.
Yep. So you can hear the engineers are already, panelists already talking about blue ocean strategies before that became a cool name. They're talking about I get knocked down, but I get up again before that became a cool song. So Engineer Akam. So we've had a bit of ideas about challenges to engineers. What happens, I mean, what could challenge you both as an engineer personally, your skills, application of your skills. We've talked to Engineer Kevin, well, Engineer Kevin shared with us, talking about his, he had a breadth, I think also for Engineer Yao Chao Fong as well, a breadth of experience before deciding to come up with his own company. Now, I think one thing that we like to focus with Engineer Arkam is that looking at what would you think would make your business a success? Is it, for example, is it pure hard work, networking, sensitive issue, people you know? Is it about assistances, grants? Again, a sensitive subject, sorry. So what would be the, how would you decide to make your, as you explain your career a bit, maybe about what would make your business a successful one?
Yeah, thank you, Engineer Wata. Thank you, everyone. Mr. President, IEM, on-site, and all panelists, and also Engineer Razak. Thank you for inviting me today for this session. My name is Muhammad Arkam bin Munaim. Currently, as the CEO of Mega IT Academy, I'm a little bit different from other two panelists talking about the business because they are actually in the consulting engineers. Myself is more to engineering education at the moment, but previously in 2007, I've joined the company Mega IT Consults at that time. And Mega IT Consult is the M&E consulting engineers, just like CCF. And in 2019, we diversify our business into one other area, which is filling the gap now. Actually, when talking about M&E engineers, why we move into engineering education, because one of the reasons is in M&E engineering, we just can do the M&E works, Chong Juvan. But when we move into engineering education, we can work other disciplines as well. We can work on civil engineering, we can work on chemical engineering, we can work in environmental engineering. So the gap is there. So that is where we come in and to start up our new business, Mega IT Academy. At that time, the same name, same logo, but I can say there's a different setup as a members as well as the operational. And to answer the Wata's question, that's true. The hard working is there. I can say, of course, the connection needs to be there as well as some assistance through maybe a grant or some financial assistance from the government or any agency. So it needs to be there. But let me it more interesting. If you talk about successful, is first of all is actually it depends on how we define the word success. It depends on how we define the word success. But in my background as an electrical engineer, I have graduated in 2000, about 22 years by now. And in industry, for consulting engineers, I've been since 2007 up to now. And after just about 3 years, lately, I'm in Mega IT Academy while I'm still holding the directorship from Mega IT Consult at the same time. But what I can observe from my previous experience, as well as my friends here who maybe failed for the first attempt, we can simplify into maybe six C's. C. The first C will be the competent. Competent can come from our knowledge, experience, as well as our soft skill that we develop throughout our journey when we start embark in our career. So the competence is most important. We need to do things that we are better than others. So that will be our added value for us to be bright in the market. Because a lot of engineers, I can say 40,000 engineers, I think in Malaysia, we registered about 20,000, 30,000 engineers, IR, for example, maybe about half of them are very, very active in the market. But to make ourselves visible in the ground, we need to be a little bit special than others. So the competency, if you do something that we are competent more in terms of knowledge, in terms of soft skill, in terms of the experience that we had, they will be the best thing that we need to venture. Second C is cooperation. I can say that cooperation among internally. We talk about our internal staff, maybe our shareholders, workers, co-workers, internal staff that will drive us into the same direction that we are visualized into our career. And that will be take along in our business as well, where we took that cooperation as one of the important things inside that organization. The third one on commercial. We talk about money and we talk about what is Yeah, money and also commercialization. Commercial means we know very well where the money goes, where the money we can get, collect, and so forth. We took a very great emphasis on taking care of our financial flow, our cash flow, our profit and loss, our approved payment, all these things commercially we need to take care, and also how to elevate the brand. I mean the brand that we set up for commercialization. For example, nowadays we're talking about SOCMED, social media. So previously in the last 20 years, maybe the social media wasn't there. So people, I can say that maybe or senior engineers, now they are thinking about how to penetrate the younger market, because they are actually blooming, they were going somewhere. So when we took, I mean, an initiative to start on the commercialization through the SOCMED is very, very, very helpful at the moment. And the next C is continuous. Continuous, I can say continuous, persistently do your business. And one more, continuity of your business is important related to the repetitive orders. Either you selling your products or you provide the services. Actually, we want repetitive orders coming from the same client, maybe for the next project, project A, and then finish project B, same client, project C, same client, project D, same client. So it will be more, I mean, your client base will be bigger and bigger and bigger. So there is continuous effort we put there. Either we do for CQI, continuous quality improvement, or persistently we put our market and products, and also we make sure our product has the continuity of services. Then I can conclude that Water and also our Dr. Engineer Razak, this 6 C's is very important. Talking about competent, knowledge, skill, and also the experience, cooperation from internal and external, commercial. We took value in our product. We understand the money. I mean the cash flow and how we want to optimize the work on the cash. Continuous effort, continuous quality improvement, continuity of the product or continuity of the services in the market, that will be our client will start to come again to repurchase our product. Connections, good connections in the healthy way, as well as the compliance. I think that C will be conclude the first question. Thank you, Engineer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that was a very good advice about the 6 C's. I hope all of you actually got that ideas. Yeah. Okay, this is Sembang Chillex. So basically, you all can relax lah. Tak payahlah nak, straight sangat. So you all can tanya soalan apa-apa, tak kisah soalan macam mana pun. Tapi kemudian nanti kita akan buka sesi untuk soalan ya. Dalam explanation yang Dr. Arkam buat tadi kan, ada mention about professionalism, ethical. So dalam kerjaya kita sebagai jurutera kan, hopefully all of you are engineering. All of you are engineering kan? Yeah. Anyone of you not engineering? Okay, so all of you are engineering students lah. So basically, for engineering students, you all need to start learning that ethics is one of the most important part of being a professional. Yeah, tak kisahlah you professional engineer, professional lawyer, but we are professional. Kita punya kerjaya ni adalah sesuatu yang suci. So make sure kita jaga kejayaan kita supaya kita akan berjaya lah. Kalau tidak, kalau kita melakukan sesuatu yang tak beretika, dan kemungkinan akan berlaku benda-benda yang tidak baik. Macam kejayaan jurutera ni, dia akan involve nyawa orang, ya, safety for example. So just make sure that kita kerja dengan yang sebaik mungkin, ya. Okay, I'll pass over to Wata for the next session, the next question that you have.
Okay, so thank you, panelists. I think we've got a broad look at what some of ideas, challenges, our what do you call it? What makes a business success, experience. So we are old. Well, okay, I am an old and jaded engineer. Sudah tua, sudah lama dalam industri. Tapi untuk rakan-rakan muda kita daripada sekolah menengah yang baru nak masuk universiti, apakah rasanya bekerja di syarikat kejuruteraan? Can you expect working at engineering company? In my company, for example, you can expect at some point to have to start emptying out the rubbish bins and start feeding the office cat. But that's my company. So we open up to the
company Wata, company kecil. So basically, you can do anything that you want. You create your own rules. So that's the good thing about buat business. You boleh buat apa saja kau suka.
As long as it's ethical and really doesn't become the front page of a YouTube or social media. But the question back to our panelists here. Maybe quickly, what can you expect young, I guess, a new engineer? The tasks that they will be doing in the office, what type of experiences they might get. So I think we start off with engineer Kevin. What would what would a young engineer experience in your environment? Not my environment.
Kevin, dia punya company besar sikit, so ada engineer lain kan. So probably different sikit as compared to macam company Wata, company Arkam, company Chow Fong. So lain-lain. You will see that dia punya kita punya kehidupan ni tak pernahnya boring. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so we don't have any cats.
Really?
No, we don't have any cats. We don't expect our engineers
Tak
to
boleh ada cats.
take out rubbish and do everything else. So what the fresh graduate does in Synergy would initially be involved in a lot of on-the-job training. We have frameworks and systems that help the graduates come on board, and for each discipline, really, we will try to get them to practice what they've learned in university. So one of the things that I discovered when I was starting to work, right, I never appreciated what I studied in engineering. So as chemical engineer, I never really understood why was the equation of state so important? Why was a phase curve so important? Who cares, right? We're going to work we're coming out to do work in the world, and we'll be building stuff. But so why do we need to know first law of thermodynamics and chaos theory and everything else? Unfortunately, when I started working, I very quickly realized that everything I learned in my first year was very, very relevant. And so I actually had to spend a lot of late nights rereading thermodynamics books, re-understanding what the hell a phase curve was, just to be able to do what I was paid to do, right? So when you come as a fresh grad, I think in any engineering company, we all expect you to have a basic of what you studied. So you have to understand what you studied. And then only you'll be able to apply it, because engineering is really an applied science. And when we start doing design, you need to apply all your basics to be able to fulfill that design. And that design becomes only a small component in the big scheme of things. So you have mechanical, you have electrical, you have instrument, you have chemical engineers, all in different disciplines. However, when you come together, you actually are able to build an offshore platform, KLCC towers and all of that, but you need to be able to put them all together. So that's what the engineers, and when the engineers come in the first 2-3 years, they're basically given to their own discipline. Slowly they will find their way, and we always allow our engineers to explore to see what they like, because there's also project engineering to go to, there's cost estimation, there's a whole lot of different routes that you can take from your base. So after 3 or 4 years, then the engineers can then start to explore and choose what they would like to do. And from then on, the company at Synergy, we try to identify if we can actually assist them, or otherwise, if we can't, then usually what happens is the engineers will start looking for jobs elsewhere to fulfill what they want to do. Right. So that's how we think the engineers that join us in their experiences are.
Okay, thank you, Engineer Kevin. I think the main takeaway from that one for students and university, well, okay, students is that first year is your fundamentals are very important. So I will go into old man mode for about 1 minute and say that one thing I hate during an interview is when students say they forget what they learned in the first year, or even worse, they forget what they learned in the third year. So you want to come out and learn in the industry. Kevin will attest that we've had interviews which only lasted for 1 minute when they started out like that.
Tapi
So-
betul tau. Betul. Macam kadang-kadang ada intern datang untuk interview kan. So the first thing that I would ask is what are the Newton's law? Because it basically kalau nak kerja dalam drilling engineering, for example, that is the only thing that you need to understand. You understand the 3 Newton's law, then you can do the job. You know, if you don't understand the 3 Newton's law, then so whatever that you learn right now in college, in uni, whatsoever, it will be useful the rest of your life. That's how cool engineering punya discipline is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess that is Engineer Kevin and Synergy's environment.
Arkam ada kucing tak dia punya company?
Tak
ada juga.
Okay, in that case we try Chow Fong first, and then we come back to Arkam. So Chow Fong, maybe what young engineers can expect in your company?
Tak ada kucing tapi ada durian. No lah. Okay. For young engineers in our company, I think when we start up this company, we wanted to actually give a chance for young engineers. I know young engineers are in a different generation as us. So our company actually practice a very flexible working hours. So we don't have like punch card for engineers. We give you a laptop. You can come at 9 o'clock. You come at 10 o'clock. But of course, you need to actually there's no punch card to log in the time. So you work for the day, and you can come in late. And of course, you can go back early or late or whatever, as long as you actually finish your task. So that's what we do. And we do not actually penalize if I say you spend less hours and all that, as long as you actually done what you have actually been told by your superiors and so on. And of course, there are other types of things that we actually do for the new generation, because we know that new generation, the working lifestyle is a bit different, and you want more flexibility. You want more flexibility, like of course you can go for you can actually look at your social media when you're free and all that, but not during the office hours, not during when you are in a meeting and so on. So for young engineers, we also want to groom them, and that's where we, as you know, my company is actually in consulting. So to groom them to be a professional engineer. So we have a lot of like trainings as well as awareness on how to be a professional engineer, and what are the steps and what are the trainings required and so forth. Okay, which is why I always encourage my engineers to join Young Engineer section, to be members, to be actively involved and so on. Okay, so I think IEM Young Engineer section is a good platform for not only my company staff, but also other young engineers to actually explore, where you get to meet a lot of new people, and of course get to know a lot from the seniors as well. Okay, in fact, when I was a young engineer, I still remember one of the few seniors that I met was actually Engineer Ong, when I was on a trip to Myanmar in a plane. That was my first trip to overseas together with the then Engineer Ong. That was, I think, 20 years ago. Okay, so back to the young engineers. I think in my company, besides grooming them to be a professional engineer, I think just like what Kevin has mentioned, we also try to actually give them a chance to be entrepreneurs. If they are keen, they can explore new things, and of course, new ventures as well. We have started putting up new subsidiaries, especially to a new field, and of course, identify those gaps. And in fact, 2 years ago, we formed a company to do power system study, where power system study is a requirement for renewable energy projects and so forth. And in fact, they have been doing very well. It's a subsidiary. They handle all the various matters like company matters and all that. We just actually give them the support and advice as well. So we try to groom new engineers, young engineers who are keen on entrepreneurship. And if they are keen, they can actually set up new companies, and we will support them all the way. Okay, and of course, those who are keen to be more with our company and of course grow, we definitely want them to actually grow, and of course give them some ownerships and so on in our company. So that's what we do.
Okay.
Sekarang all of you are students kan. Hopefully all of you apa ni IEM members, because IEM members is IEM student members ni. What we would do is we support them in terms of giving them advice and then giving them opportunities to network dengan people and all that. You all macam hari ni, you all met with abang-abang yang handsome ni. Can get their numbers.
Uncle, sorry.
Uncle. Abang botak ada. Okay, so but depends also what is your interest. Kalau your interest is basically towards the academics ke whatsoever, nak je buat training ke. Macam I dulu I suka buat training. So that's what I do as part of the being consultant kan. So it's much easier to do work which is whatever that you like, and we have that opportunity to do that in the future. As long as you work hard in the first few years of your career and then establish yourself, your name, and then inshallah your rezeki will be there towards until you're retired kan. So kita tak dengar lagi cerita daripada Abang Arkam ni. Nama dia memang Arkam, bukan Nia ya. Arkam dulu. Okay. Arkam, cuba cerita sikit. What's your daily life is like?
Terima kasih Engineer Razak. One thing good about engineering that I have gone through about 20 years now is really my daily routine is different from other days. So today you got something like this, tomorrow you got something else, the day after day there's something else. As long as you can still get intact with your engineering profession, I like what Chow mentioned tadi. In my education office, academic office, we don't have any thumbprint or punch card as well. Sebab kita memang nak release kan. Sekarang generation dia lain, dia punya view of working. As long as you can deliver, outcome based. We look for people who can deliver, who can masuk dalam syarikat untuk membantu, membawa company ke tempat yang lebih baik. Itu satu option. Dan hari-hari, everyday, we not the same day for all engineers. I think for consulting engineers lah. I'm not sure about the manufacturing. Maybe they are working in the same environment in the factory or whatnot. But in engineering, consulting engineers, I can say that my day different from one day to another. But the same, lebih kurang sama aktiviti, tetapi berbeza. Hari ini di sini, besok di tempat lain, kemudian buat benda lain tu, buat consulting engineers, kemudian pergi mengajar, kemudian pergi buat power system study, kemudian pergi site visit, kemudian pergi factory visit, buat factory test ataupun SAT, site acceptance test, and then masuk construction, buat construction management, ataupun pergi kadang-kadang kena pergi ke majlis, liaison, dealing with the authorities. So banyak activities yang mana kita buat. The complexity untuk kita laksanakan aktiviti pun berbeza-beza. Tetapi very very fun I think. I'm not sure about others, but
punya jurusan kan.
Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay.
Alright, thank you.
Actually, just now you have heard all of the explanation kan, cerita-cerita kita macam mana jadi engineer whatsoever. Kita tak banyak masa lagi actually ya. Ada dalam 15 minit lagi sebelum kita end. Ada question daripada siapa-siapa dekat sini yang kita boleh addresskan?
Maybe if the online questions, we ask them first.
Online
while the audience raises their hands, all 200 people of you here, raise your hands, and the ones outside.
Siapa yang tanya soalan dapat mak.
But not Engineer Razak Smart, please.
No, ada baru punya daripada kotak daripada kotak. Okay, siapa yang nak dulu? Silakan, ada mic tak?
Ada mic tak?
Kalau tak ada mic, I give you my mic lah. Probably kita kena sembuh sikit lah kot. Sembuh sikit lah. Sembuh sikit.
Electrical engineers, please vet his cleaning methodology.
Hello, test mic 1 2.
Hello. Hi, my name is Izzat. I'm from International Islamic University Malaysia. So my question is basically we are in the endemic right now. So during the COVID time, we know every section is hit hard. So how did business engineering business recover? Like, do they just continue what they did before COVID, or do they need to have a new approach for their business to continue strive for the better? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. Do one of our panelists want to pick that one up first? Okay.
Okay, terima kasih. Siapa nama tadi? Izzat, UIA, terima kasih banyak. Yes, of course. I think everybody is affected due to COVID. Same as us. In the consulting engineer, I got two companies just mentioned just now. Two operation companies. One is consulting engineers, and another one is academy engineering education. Sudah dapat. Itu tepuk tangan. Thank you, Izzat. Okay. Rasanya sama je. Biar yang engineering tu saya biarkan engineer Yao yang jawab nanti sebab beliau dalam engineering, saya akan cakap tentang engineering education. COVID memang menguji kita macam mana kita nak react. Ada orang yang sangat terkesan to the bottom. Ada orang yang sama-sama saja. Tapi ada setengah business dia lain. Dia akan meningkat. Contohnya Foodpanda. During COVID, sales dia meningkat 500%. So ada bisnes yang akan meningkat disebabkan oleh satu-satu musibah semacam ini. The way we look perspective and the way we react. For example, Mega JT Academy. At that point we started in 2019 before COVID. After 6 months of operation, Engineer Razak, we got COVID attack. COVID hit in Malaysia and we stayed at home for quite a long period. Sebelum tu kita buat face-to-face training. Dan it's going well at that time, about 6 months kita sudah nampak ada pace towards profit. Tapi bila masuk March dan kita kena. But for the first few months we still have to think ni bila nak habis? 3 months, 2 months, but tak habis. Sampai bulan ke-6 tak habis. So we change our method from the conventional face-to-face into an online. We started with Google Meet and as well Google Classroom at that point. Tapi nampaknya COVID tak habis lagi. Dan kita start dengan our own learning management system. Now in February 2021, we launch our learning management system. It's all portal based training education for certification, especially from CIDB lah. So kita boleh nampak that portal now workable after COVID pun, endemic ataupun lepas COVID pun dia akan terus berjalan lah. So dan lebih bagus sebab people can access from anywhere, anytime. We don't have a specific office hour in the portal. It's all 100% 24/7. It's a part of things that we have to think and to escape from that kind of scenario. But of course, we need to have a good people to advise and to look into it supaya kita dapat buat dengan berkesan lah. So that is our experience as a consulting engineers and as well as the engineering education companies for training and education purpose. Engineer Yao, maybe for consulting engineers. Thank you. Is that?
Thank you. Just a quick one. I think dari segi consultants, I think there are two things that we look at. One is of course the operation and of course the business itself lah. So for operation, I think we were quite lucky when the COVID started to hit us. As you know, as I mentioned just now, we have our laptops and all that, so we work from home and we turn our the operation into virtual mode, where we try to actually put it online. All our things are done online on our server. We actually created the server and all that, so that our engineers who are actually staying at home are still able to communicate and of course produce whatever is required to our clients. So I think for the business itself, the operation, I think one thing is important is adaptability to the changes to the situation, because you see COVID is just two years. So the next few months, things will change again, where people are starting to go back to the offices and all that. So I think business has to change again to adapt to the new norm. So the new norm changes every maybe 2 months, 3 months. So we have to actually update ourselves so that we are not lacking behind. Because you can't be actually online all the time now, and you have to go back to offices. So we have to actually change again our approach and so forth. So that is on operation. The second one is on business. I think our management actually, when the COVID actually hit hard on us, we have to look and explore, like what Razak mentioned, gaps. So we know that there's gaps. We know that some industry like developments are not moving. Then we have to move into other industries. Like for example, 2 years back, it was actually a hit with gloves and all that. So we started to look at clients which is on gloves and all that, to approach them and of course look for opportunities in those areas and related to COVID. And I always believe nothing is actually, in business, nothing is actually permanent. So I think you have to actually explore and of course, see new opportunities in that particular time.
Kevin, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit more. I mean, what Engineer Chow says is completely correct. There are two parts to it. There's the business part, which you already explained, and the operational side, right? So for us, having engineers, majority, we are 90%, 95% engineers in our company. And engineers by nature, as a consultant, like to solve problems. That's all they love to do, right? We love to solve problems. So my company treated this as a problem. And fortunately, we had engineers who just said, okay, this is how we're going to solve it. How we're going to move remotely, how we're going to put everything up onto the cloud, how we are going to do a multidiscipline team over several sites. So the engineers accepted a lot of it, found ways themselves how to get around working remotely. So those people who didn't have internets or computers just found their way through. So with having a consultancy of a technical side, I think that really helped us very quickly navigate among the operational aspects in the first, I think we solved it within 2 or 3 days, right? Because our government went on Monday, we're going to shut on Tuesday. By Thursday, everything was online and we were operating again. So for me, I think I'm very thankful to the team of engineers that I had and obviously their way of approaching problems.
I think yang boleh kita ambil of 3 of our panelists cakap, change. Yeah, we have to adapt to change. Change will always happen. Yeah, but it is up to us to basically adapt to change to make sure that we survive. And we as human, we basically adapt to any change there is. So it is very, very important that we, whenever that something happen, we stop, think, and then we react to it. And then once you react, you make sure that you think as well proactively lah. What basically are you going to do in the future if this is the case? Like COVID, it's something that we don't expect to happen. Yeah, I do a lot of project management. Yeah, kalau project management, so a lot of offshore work and all that. So coordination during the COVID is a big challenge. Yeah, kalau normal days tu memang susah. Ini kali macam 10 kali lagi susah kan. So dengan restriction, tak boleh cross border, even state border, tak boleh nak travel and all that. Those are really, really the big challenges that we have. Tapi we basically have to adapt to it lah. That is part of what survival is all about. Yeah. One thing for sure is that we need to make sure that our business will proceed. Yeah. Okay, kita nak tanya for this next question. I have next question. Oh, ramai. Just now, just now I have this guy with the red ni ha. Oh, okay. What yang tak bagi?
Ni one of the new changes lah. Cakap pun jauh-jauh kan. Okay.
Hello, dear panelists. So a question to you, especially in response to Mr. Kevin, who brought up the appreciation for equations, right? Yeah, I from a student's standpoint, right, I truly believe that learning should be fun and exciting, and we should really understand and appreciate the story behind every equation. But at the same time, I don't really feel it. Like, I understand and I know that there's an amazing world behind every equation, but I don't feel it. And because we are, well, I believe I speak for many students when I say that we are sort of in this weird place where we are trying to find a balance between getting good grades and really appreciate what we are learning, right? Because we come into engineering in all sorts of ways. Some are forced into do it, parents want us to do it. Some are really inspired by people and wanted to get into engineering. But at the end of the day, we all end up together in the same classroom, right? And we look at the lecture slides, we look at our homework and our assignments, and it doesn't exactly inspire the sort of appreciation that I believe we should be having, right? So the dear panelists here, I wonder, right, what are your views on this sort of like a situation? What are your advice that you can give to a fellow engineering student who really is trying their best to like appreciate what's going on in the equations and all that he's learning, but also not sacrificing his grades? Because you sort of need the credit to let people know that, hey, I know what I'm doing, but also you need to sacrifice a lot of what you could have done just to get good grades, good credit, so people could see. So I wonder, what is it that we could do to find a perfect balance, or to find a perfect balance between these two?
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Okay, I thought the question was going to be a balance between getting good grades and finding the next good party, but I was led down the wrong garden path there. So I guess just be mindful of time. We've got a few minutes, so maybe we can give Engineer Kevin the lead and then the our other panelists to add on. Thank you.
Cool. That's a good question, right? So I can actually relate to that, because when I was studying as an engineering, a chemical engineer undergraduate, I really only answered his question was where was the next party, and grades were important because my parents would really do a flip if I didn't do grades. And I do understand that I never understood the relevance of an equation of state to what I do now. During my time as a student, which was like 20 over years ago, right, we seldom had internships. So the internships were very different. And so I guess that gap, after looking back, would be in order to actually see the relevance, you actually have to come out and work in companies, however you can, in whatever you want to do. And that would actually give you a feel of whether what you're learning is what you want to do. Because you do have to find your passion, right? As an engineer, you can do a consultancy, is what I do. And after working, I really do appreciate equations of states, fugacity laws, and everything else. However, you can also be an engineer in manufacturing and other areas where you may not need to know that much of depth. So it really depends on what you want to do. So my advice is you need to explore, right? Engineering allows you to do many, many, many things. In fact, I know a lot of engineers who aren't engineers anymore, and they do other things because their passion is not there. However, the learning skills that you learn as an engineer can be applied to other aspects of industry, your job, or your life. Right? So finding the passion is important. You may not be able to find it now, but you need to explore to find where exactly it sits. Right? Of course, good grades are usually useful because parents are very happy if you get good grades.
Okay. Right. Okay, any questions online, if to give them a chance? Okay, so in this audience, anybody else want more marks?
Actually,
for the...
I just wanted to mention that we will continue our session a little bit longer because there's a lot of questions that I see coming up. So let's have a little bit more, a bit longer, okay, so that we can have questions.
Okay, but I think for students, they will say, so again.
Okay, all of you want to stay? Say yes. Okay, all right. Let's stay for a bit more. We address more questions. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm from IEM. So I have questions for Engineer Yao. Okay, so in our university, starting from COVID on 2020, they applied the final pass course policy. So you mentioned about failing. So like when they apply that policy, most of our friends is very sad about failing. So what are your tips for my friends and me, myself, to get up back when we fail course?
Okay, I think your question is more of like what is the motivation to continue in engineering, right? So I think again, I think this is actually more of like a question of motivation. So what I suggest is, of course, when you are demotivated, it's always the friends or even people beside you that actually try to bring you up again. So my suggestion is, of course, I think it is good that you actually have friends around you to support you and work together, so that when there's a failure and so forth, you are motivated again by your friends. So one of the suggestion is, of course, by having your friends or even joining societies. Like I think IEM have your student sections and all that, so that you actually mingle around with positive people. Or people always say positive people will give you positive energy. So that's one of the way. And of course, not only students in your university, I think IEM also offers opportunities for you in student sections where you mingle with students from other universities. So you can actually gain more confidence and so forth. So I think Young Engineer section, I think led by Yishen and our team, will definitely organize more events so that you actually be motivated, learn from them, and of course, gain more confidence in your day-to-day life and of course, your studies as well. Okay.
Dah jadi IEM member tak?
Student
Bagus. Semua orang nak IEM members ke? Yes? Okay, that's good. Student section, because student section, we come up with a lot of activities under Young Engineers section, kan? So there's a lot of activities that we do. If you don't have the activity, nanti bagi tahu ke I, nanti I buatkan activity to you all. Okay. So before we move on to the question, and I think for you guys, it is good that we surround ourselves with positive people. Kalau you go into, kalau nanti lepas graduate, nanti masuk dalam company whatsoever, you will always have someone in the company yang macam, tak best kerja sini, you know, boss tak best. You know, that is very, very negative, kan? You will have that kind of people in anywhere you go. Ada kat universiti pun, uni pun mesti ada, kan, kawan-kawan yang macam tak best lah lecturer ni, macam, you know, this class boring lah, you know. But these are negative people. But you, if you want to succeed in your life, then you know, gather dengan people yang really positive, yang ada ideas nak buat, you know. Kalau say for example you dengan Wata ke whatsoever, Wata comes up with very, very like weird ideas, you know. So you sometimes have to
Engineer Razak, we're supposed to encourage people to enter the industry, not to discourage.
Or you kawan dengan Chow Fong ke, he has great ideas. So you can, you know, we come up with ideas and then we do the project together. And that's actually one of the things that we did for Sembang Chillex, which started with I think last year. This is a 5th episode, so you have episode 1 to 4, which you can actually go and take a look at IEM punya YouTube channel. Go in, subscribe, so that we have a lot more members inside there, and then we will provide more information inside there. And if you would like to know as well what IEM can actually do for you, you can also watch the video on KISS, Kenali IEM secara santai. Kan senang, kan? So you know exactly who dalam situ yang ada technical division, bagai whatsoever. You know kan technical division. So technical division ni dalam setiap disiplin ada, setiap industri kita ada. So you know, benda-benda ni ada dalam IEM. Cuma kalau kita tak tahu saja. So make sure you all get yourself with that information, so that it's you know, it will be beneficial. Because you know, if you are with us and then follow whatever the people in IEM yang senior ni cakap, insyaAllah akan berjaya. Okay, we have next question.
Soalan
okay
lagi.
Yes, the lady.
And then Engineer Razak, question over there.
Where? Oh yes.
After that
Testing.
question.
Oh, next.
Good day, panelists. I am actually quite interested when you talk about entrepreneurship, because in university, right, where we keep on saying our studies and then practical stuff, hardly I heard about entrepreneurship. So how do we incorporate engineering and entrepreneurship?
I guess before I answer, maybe just checking on, I think that, so was that the end of your question?
No.
Oh, continue first.
I do have some friends. They told me that when they study engineering, they find it hard, and then they feel like they don't want to do engineering anymore. They want to ditch engineering and go to entrepreneurship. And then somehow from what I heard, that it's like we can somehow find a balance between these two. So how do we do that?
All right, thank you, Miss. You're a student, Miss? Are you a student?
What's your name?
Sorry, my name is Carmen. Carmen.
Carmen, okay, all right.
Are you a student still?
No.
Okay.
All right, okay, thank you. Thank you, Carmen, for that question. Okay, entrepreneurship will become one of the PO in the engineering education. We full aware that engineering education has about 12 POs, and that POs is actually derived from the International Engineering Alliance towards Board of Engineers, and then EAC or EAD, and then comes to the university as a part of the character that we want to curb our engineering graduates towards entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship, if not mistaken, in PO 11 or PO 12, something like that. So there will be the character that we derive from the beginning, that all engineers graduate or engineering graduates needs to have that kind of exposure into their syllabus or curriculum structure. So there is there already. Only how we want to appreciate or appraise that engineering entrepreneurship, because it's different. We need to have our exposure. That's what I'm talking from the beginning, telling that if we competent in one area, that is the area that we know. Maybe we can say that this is the area I want to make my own entrepreneurship from this area, either product or services. And entrepreneurship cannot be learned in just 3 years, 4 years in the university. A lot coming through a lot of processes, starting from our experience, maybe the basic knowledge coming from the theoretical parts. But the most important thing, the experience, where you have been exposed to that kind of problem solving. Just now we were talking about problem solving, and as well as how you adapt to the condition where you want to still to survive in the industry. So there's no wrong for engineering graduates to work on something else, non-engineering entrepreneurship. There's no wrong. Only the best is if we can still to pursue our engineering career. Either you work as either you go for entrepreneurship, engineering products or engineering services, is very helpful. But it's depend on the individual, because engineers is actually a diversified, technical, knowledgeable person who need to find their own space for their own earnings. So there will be another issues. It depends on us. There's people who just feel that's comfortable to work under the company. I mean, still become the workers until the end of the career. There's people also work for a while and then jump into starting one company and then one company and then one company, and they feel here, success there, feel here, success there. Something is up to us. So, but the drive that will make us to become the entrepreneur is something that comes from our inside. So are we going to go for that entrepreneurship to face all those challenges to become an entrepreneur, or you want just to make comfortable working and gain your, maybe you start to migrate from one company to one company, or maybe you start to migrate from one country to one country to get better earning. Is all open to everybody. So there is a perspective that we need to understand. I want to go into entrepreneurship, so you get to get what kind of product they want to sell. So this from my point of view, Engineer Razak, maybe you can
actually in any universities, any program that you go through, we do have as part of the engineering accreditation punya council, what we do is we check your degree, what is included inside there. Entrepreneurship is actually part of the degree that you have. So ada subjek-subjek yang menerapkan bahagian-bahagian perniagaan, entrepreneurship. So for engineering, once you have graduated, you actually have all of those skills already. Either you want to proceed using that skills or not, is really entirely up to you. And I think untuk engineers yang engineering punya student, Once you have graduated, once you have started your job, you will figure out what exactly that you like to do. Some people want to go into business, macam abang kau semua ni. Tapi some of people just like to be a technical person like me, but doing consultancy. Tapi consultancy still maintain in technical, still that ada entrepreneurship a little bit over there because I am selling myself, I jual diri macam tu kan. So it really depends on you. Or if you want to work in a corporate world and become a CEO whatsoever in a large corporation, you can do that as well. For engineering, you already have that basic needs to succeed. So it's really entirely up to you how you surround yourself with positive people, how you actually take yourself to the next level, and how you want to get help. And IEM is always there to help you. Okay. Anyone else want to add?
Yeah, okay. I'll add a bit. Entrepreneurship actually is, although being taught, it's very different in the real world, right? I'm an engineer primarily, and I consider myself to be an accidental entrepreneur. I never wanted to run a business. It just, there was a gap, and I took it and it worked, right? And all the entrepreneurship that people say, oh, you learn how to make business, I learned on the job. I learned by making mistakes and slowly going through it, right? And of course, with entrepreneurship, there is a huge part of the risk. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur because they say, oh, we make lots of money, right? And that's the main driver. But to run a business, right, making money is never the purpose or a vision of a business. You need to have a vision which is actually bigger than yourself. Only with the vision, then when you make money, that money is actually, or your profit that you're making, is a result of what you want to do in your vision. Right? So if you ever say, oh, I'm running a business because I make money, you probably won't survive very long because there's nothing to move forward. Because once you make money, how much money do you want to make? You just keep making money, right? So it's very important to actually get your vision correctly. And then after that, use your skills to add value, and then people will pay for that value. Then you slowly get a business. So yeah, so that's my point on entrepreneurship.
One last question.
One last question from the lady which moves seat.
There's one over there.
Which one? Okay, everybody's passing to everybody else.
One last question.
We
only have one last question.
It's not nice to leave one last question on the plate. Take the question.
Anyone?
Razak.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I am Amiro from IEM. So I want to ask how you guys to overcome the problem, meaning the problem solving, to have the better ideas from time to time. Okay.
Did you say better ideas from time to time?
Better. So the problems, then your idea is better than others, your competitor or.
Okay, I think the question is about when how do you come up with ideas that can better or I guess compete against your competitors? How do you come up with new ideas? How do you how do you promote? How do you advance yourself in your market?
If let's say you're talking about engineering, technical issues, how do you come or even give up new ideas? I think as an engineer, I think whatever you study in the university is just part of it. When you actually come out as a graduate engineer or even pursue your PE, I think you have to get yourself ready to receive new ideas. And of course, get yourself attached to the latest requirements, technology, and of course, information in engineering. And you have to actually take the chance not only just to stay put to what you study in the university, but of course, venture and of course, look at new ideas, just like today, exhibition. So come out and have a look at what is the latest technology, latest information. And of course, also nowadays, there are a lot of webinars and of course, information in the web. So you have to actually do more of like a self-study and research in your discipline. So that's what I think of.
Okay, I think that is all the time that we have for this session because we got a message from the organizers saying that you all have to go for a guided tour after this. So we would like to thank all of the panelists, Engineer Chow Pong, Dr. Arkam, and also Engineer Kevin for coming with us. Thank you very much to all of you as well for joining this session, basically the first ever Sembang Chillex Kejuruteraan Bersama IEM, physically done over in KL Convention Center. Hopefully we will see each other again. So go over to the IEM channel, IEM YouTube channel to watch the episode 1 to episode 4, as well as joining the upcoming session. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum. Oh, let's have a photo for
Together with the president.
Yeah, together with the president as well.
I think, Razak, I think we should also thank the IEM Young Engineer section for organizing the participants today. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Group photo with the panelists and then with come. Ani, masuk sekali. Ani, masuk.
Okay, everybody in good positions. Do a good shot, everybody. Okay, on the count of 3, 2, 1. Nice. One more thumbs up, please. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Okay, meanwhile, can we also have the students and also those who are in this talk to join the speakers, some of the VIP, for group photo on stage. As the title of today's session, Sembang Chillex, keep it cool. You can just sit at the stage. Don't initiate. Come on. You can be here. Or you can get close to the speakers. Not an issue. Come on yourself. Don't be shy. It's a good way to make friends. Say hi to the next person beside you. Hi. Make it 3 rows.
Everybody turns on to Oh, yes! Hold the mic.
Okay, everybody. Do we have a good shot?